Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbalo in Lagos. It has been a week which has a predominant theme, and that is security. From the National Assembly to the streets and the seat of power, the concern is how can Nigeria keep safe in the face of the huge challenges it currently faces. Today, the Northern Elders Forum came out with what is a big deal to them in their press conference led by Professor Ango Abdullahi. Let's get the presidency to react to some of the issues they have raised today. The Northern Elders Forum has criticized the manner and the approach in which President Buhari has handled the issues of security in the country. They have also called for the sack of security chiefs in the country, mentioned the issues of state policing in Nigeria. But also, is the fact that Southeast governors have met at the government house in Enugu today to discuss issues of concerns and interest in the region. In attendance are the Enugu State Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, Ebonyi State Governor David Umahi, Governor of Abia State Okeze Ikpeazu, and the Deputy Governor of Anambra State Nkem Okeke. Others include the President General, members of the Oneze Indigbo Social-Cultural Group, bishops and members of the Christian Association of Nigeria, amongst others. Well, some of the issues lead us for discussion at that meeting. The Southeast Security meeting is a possibility of the establishment of a Southeast security outfit to address the enormous security challenges in the region and the ongoing reconstruction work at the Akano Mbiam International Airport, amongst others. Let's get to discuss what the Northern Elders Forum has said today. The convener of the Northern Elders Forum, Professor Ango Abdullahi, said in a statement that the current government led by President Muhammadu Buhari has failed to secure the citizens from incessant attacks by bandits and other terrorist groups. According to the statement, the forum also laments what it has termed poverty, particularly in the northern region, and massive social security that they say has worsened under this administration. In that statement, it wrote in parts that, I quote now, with this type of mindset, it is difficult to see how President Buhari can accept the challenge to radically improve his handling of our security situation. Nonetheless, we believe that Nigerians must continue to raise our voices and organize through all legitimate means to demand the administration addresses major failings in its perception of our situation and its response to our demands for our rights to security. The Northern Elders Forum condemned the insurgents' tactics of targeting Christians and publicizing their execution, but it also appeals to religious leaders not to fall into the trap of insurgents setting them against one another. So now, tomorrow, the Amotekun security outfit will launch out recruitment application form to would-be members. And what that means is that everyone who wants to be a member of the Amotekun security outfit is now open to get their application forms. What does this mean? On the issues of community policing tonight, let's get talking. I have joining me one of the brains behind this concept of Amotekun is Mr. Shina Fagbenro Byron, a development expert and consultant, a leader in the region, and also an advisor to the Dawn Commission. And I have also Mr. Dennis Amakuri, who is a former deputy director at the Department of State Services. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on tonight.
Thank you very much for having us.
It's a very interesting time that we're in the country as a people, and a lot of issues on security. Agreement nationwide is the fact that we have a challenge. A national security challenge on our hands. A lot of people are streamlined it to say community policing might be a way out. And so I think that is the reason why the Southwest governors and some of the leaders in the Southwest are thinking about Amotekun. Southeast governors are meeting and talking about a regional security outfit. But tomorrow, Amotekun will launch out with application form. What is behind this concept?
Well, you see, the first and primary thing and responsibility is self-preservation. And that's why the primary responsibility of governance and government is to secure lives and property. When lives are lost and properties are lost for thoughtless and avoidable reasons, then there is a failure of state. Now, by virtue of the Nigerian Constitution and by virtue of history and responsibility, the governors of each state have to respond responsibly and responsively to the yearnings of the people. Now, over the past 10 years, there has been a notice of the reduction in security stability in certain zones of Nigeria. 10 years ago, Southwest was perceived to be the green zone of Nigeria. And those of us in international development that have worked in these spaces understand what that means. It means that these are places that you can travel to freely without much problems. 15 years ago, you could travel to Kano. And I used to have colleagues in DFID who will camp in the open 15 years ago in Katsina, in the desert, and nothing will happen to them. But insecurity has been spreading southwards. And the point is this: if you have serious areas of weakness in a nation, right, that can bring down the whole nation, then it behoves on responsible people in that nation to grow areas of strength so that the strong areas can help to reach out to pull the weak areas up.
That's the reason why you brought Amotekun, the idea of
I didn't bring out Amotekun.
No, you are one of those who drafted.
I didn't draft them. I am a supporter. I belong to a school of thought that believes in regional integration and regional development as a strategy for national development. Nigeria is too wide and too big. To manage the security of Nigeria, there are geographic considerations. There are cultural considerations. There's language. Everything security has to do with intelligence first.
All right. Mr. Byron, just a moment.
Yes,
give us a sense of what you think. Tomorrow, Amotekun will launch out recruiting, the process of recruitment. Some people have criticized Amotekun's approach. What do you make of their approach and the manner in which that initiative has been drafted so far?
Well, you see, when the Amotekun idea came out, I was very happy because it's a very good initiative, and it is something that had been in the minds of so many people. Because the state of insecurity in this country, I don't like when people try to make partisan, comments about security, because security is not partisan, and it's apolitical. Whereby it is the lives of people that are involved here. It is a good initiative, but an initiative that was founded on a false foundation. There are two major issues there. One, it was not legally backed. There is no legal framework bringing it up. And I mentioned it right here on this channel. That it's a good initiative, but you have to back it up and bring it up as a legal entity. Because if somebody now in Amotekun goes and did something somewhere, of course, who are you going to sue? And we don't want to deal with an unknown soldier kind of stuff. That's one. Secondly, the regional aspect of it. And it's Nigeria is not, our constitution is not known to accommodate any region. There is no region known to our constitution. So if you are doing this thing across region, then it brings up issues of either funding or, who directs it, etc., because there are no regional provision in our constitution. So it would have been allowed to remain in the states. Lagos State has a neighborhood watch, and then if you want to form something that you feel will help the normal formal police system, then form your Amotekun Lagos, Amotekun Oyo, Amotekun Ogun, Amotekun Osun, like that. And then, of course, let them have this MOU that will make them operate together.
So now that we are seeing the Southeast coming, and there's a northern group also saying Shege Kafasa
Yes.
coming up with those
Yes.
kind of initiatives. Let me get back to Mr. Byron. For those who say there is no modus operandi for Amotekun, what do you say to them?
Let me first start by saying that it's not everybody that criticizes this Amotekun that does not mean well or is negative. No. Because the truth be told is that whatever can be used can be abused. And we don't want to create the same Nigeria police that a lot of people are fearful of and are not performing the functions that they should perform. So we quite agree on some of the concerns. But you see, you don't need a law to have an idea, and you don't need a law to have an initiative. Institutionally, before Nigeria was, that zone, which you call Southwest, contained a large nation of people called the Yorubas, who had institutional, traditional, and indigenous methods of responding to security threats. The fact that we have become Nigeria does not erase any of that. So the automatic response mechanisms of natural and human sustainability kicked in. And when that kicked in, yes, it is necessary to sort of put in structure, form, and how it will work. Now, when you say that the Nigerian Constitution does not recognize regions, you are wrong. Because if you go into the federal character law, which says how things should be allocated and distributed in terms of representation, it refers to zones. And that federal character law lists the Southwest zones as we know them today.
Or in terms of security?
In terms of security,
Does that apply?
Security is not on the exclusive list. It's not on the exclusive list. You see, look, Femi Falana had said it sometime. There is a police council that states are supposed to be represented on. Hitherto, the states have sort of abandoned that responsibility, but security is not on the exclusive list.
Just a moment. Let's take a breather. Let's take a breather. We'll take a break, but before we go on that break, on how did you see that segment? The crisis rocking the APC in Edo State appears to have gotten to a fever pitch during the week when the demolition of the house of an APC chieftain, popularly known as Kabaka, was said to be loyal to the national chairman, Adam Tushomale. His home on the house was brought down. A lot of people saying things falling apart. The government says that it is not a witch hunt. Up next on the program, we'll take a break, and when we return, the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, spits fire over political party deregistration in Nigeria. We'll take up that matter when we return from this break, everyone. Join us again. Thank you so much, everyone. Welcome back to the program. Mr. Shina Fagbero Byron is an advisor to the Dawn Commission. Dawn Commission is an agreement group by the Southwest region. And Mr. Dennis Amakudi is a former Secret Police former deputy director with the DSS. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on tonight.
Thank you very much for having us.
Fundamentally, before I allow Mr. Amakudi to come in, because off the camera,
Yes.
The argument was heated about the constitutionality or the legality of Amotekun. There are a lot of people who think, fantastic initiative. If not, the Southeast wouldn't be saying, we want same thing. Northern groups are saying, we want similar thing. But the concept going forward, does it have a legal backing?
Well, you see, look, Amotekun is a response. It's a response. The NDDC eventually was a response. The northeastern whatever is a response to a regional need, right? The response and the initiative does not always have to come from the federal government. It can come from the people. This is the desire and the demands of the people of the Southwest. And that is why all the 6 governors were in unison without any dissent whatsoever. And they understood the full ramifications.
So on Monday or tomorrow,
Yes.
which is tomorrow, when you're giving out forms, what is the modality
My,
of the recruitment?
my brother,
the process?
tomorrow is just the beginning of a journey that is going to last a long time. There's going to be different methods of issuing forms. The most important thing is that it's going to be consistent with the spirit of community policing, ensuring that people from within a space and that understand both the geography, the culture, right, and the ramifications, the nuances of that zone, right, are integrated into a security framework.
How do you then
That
recruit
can-
people who are not eventually going to be terrorists within the organization of fit colonies?
Because they have to be known by the indigents.
What does it take to be a member of Amotekun?
Well, you see, that has not been formalized yet. I am in no position to say that.
But you are one of the drafters.
in the
concept,
yes,
in the concept of the
yes,
forms
yes,
that will be given out tomorrow.
Yes.
Wouldn't that be stated on the caliber
Okay,
and the kind of persons?
the point is this. We want people who are literate. We want people to understand that other people have rights. We want people who can understand that there is a national pledge and there is a Nigeria and there are other people and that, there's a constitution. We want people, however, who understand that security of everyone in terms of both their movable and immovable security. Do you know what immovable security means? That is your land. You get my point? So people who understand those concepts, and of course, like in any organization, there are different levels of competencies. The first principle of security is information, is intelligence. The ability for people to give you feedback and for you to centralize, gather that feedback and use it.
Okay, just a moment.
So
that's a very
all
good,
those structures
yeah,
and that will determine the kind of people that eventually get on board. And of course,
let's bring him because you are a former secret police officer, and in your line of duty is how you use information intelligence. That's what you call it within your sphere. How you use intelligence to drive at securing the people. So in this sense of community policing, what kind of or manner of approach should they be looking at in getting Amotekun or any other regional security outfit working?
Okay. Information, intelligence actually is processed information. Information is the raw thing that you gather and then give to people. And you can get open source newspapers and everything. But when it is processed to give a picture, then is that picture that security agencies have to work with. Now, the approach that many people have been using, all these neighborhood watches and, of course, Shege, Kafasa, and all the rest, is that they feel that they are another police, whereby they put uniforms on them. All of them are putting on uniforms of one shade or the other. Even when Amotekun was launched the first time, you saw people with uniforms. Yeah. I don't know our knack for uniforms in this country. But the thing is that they are not even supposed to be. Okay, fine. If you want to put uniform on some people, those people are going to operate maybe at the visible level. But the real people that we want, which even Amotekun is preaching, are those hunters who are in the bush, and they should not be wearing uniforms. They should not be, it could be anybody. It could be a vulcanizer somewhere. It should be a hunter somewhere, the taxi driver, whoever. People should be trained that are in society, undercover, to give information. And that's the structure that I expect. But when we start wearing them uniforms and buying them vehicles and to be driving around, the next thing you see is an abuse of the civilian population. And
there's been a lot of criticism against the security outfit in Nigeria that there's a huge lack of intelligence gathering and the fact that there is no centralized data to be used in going after criminals and all what have you.
Correct.
How do you see this playing out now with all of these outfits that are being created? Because in some parts of the world, you have all of these community policing structures. But in the United States, after the 9/11, there was the Homeland Security has a unified security database.
Yes.
Now, wherever in the 50 states of the United States, you have those information easily accessed.
Exactly.
What do you think that can play out, or what would you suggest to Amotekun, the Southeast, or Shege Nafasa, if it's approved, to use?
I think that is what I've been trying to project here, because it is not, I know that the reason or the initiative of Amotekun or whoever is out of necessity. People were, it's like you need electricity in your house and you don't have, you hurry out and go and buy a generator. You want to provide something, at least. Yeah, there is no road, you create one, So, but what they have to do is to sit back, write down. And I think that is an initiative of security which has been taken away from the federal government. Because if the federal government was on top of it, at least they might want to do a structure that also look like the state police. Because people have been talking about state police, state police. That is bringing the policing down to the grassroots.
If it's done well, Amotekun and others will
It's
work.
the same whole idea. But you're calling we are now calling it different names now. Actually, the necessity is there, and you have Amotekun coming out, you have Shege Kafasa or Obunigwe in the southeast or whatever. But the whole idea, if the federal government is going to stay on top of it, is to create a state police.
All right.
Bring down policing to the grassroots.
Let's bring this home, and perhaps just a few moments that we have left.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here, Mr. Byron?
First of all, I'd like to agree with what my friend Mr. Makri said in terms of the preponderance and the majority of those who are in Amotekun. They'd rather be less visible than visible. However, there is something for symbolism and something for giving the people some comfort that they have their own. And this is why you have had the demonstration and the publicity and the symbolism, which is an expression of the people. What you saw is not what the government itself wanted to do because of themselves. It is what the people in the Southwest wanted to do. And I totally agree with you. State policing, Amotekun is just the beginning, State policing is, as a matter of fact, restructuring Nigeria is inevitable because you have to repair what has been unpacked.
It seems we are doing now in bits.
My brother was saying
we're taking security now.
Yes, we are doing. But
it looks
see,
like
but it's
the
better,
nation is being restructured.
But it's better.
It's
better. We get smart and face this thing like courageous and noble Africans that we truly are. He told me something that there is no longer regions, but there was regions before. It was dismantled. Somebody came and dismantled the mechanics of progress of this country, or a group of people at a particular point in time. What can be dismantled can be rearranged.
Let's go on. What will be your final word tonight? Looking forward to tomorrow when these reforms are going to be rolled out in all the 6 states of the Southwest.
My response is this. I want to congratulate the governors of the 6 governors of the Southwest. I believe and appreciate they have been responsive and responsible. I want to congratulate the people of the Southwest, but say and loudly that this is something that should be used responsibly. It should not be abused. What can be used can be abused. We know why we ran away and why we have less comfort with the Nigerian police. We do not want to create the same kind of problems. It will take patience, but we will get there. But it is certainly something that has come to stay.
All right. Your final word, Mr. Makri.
I think the federal government should be on top of this. Even if the regions or the states are allowed to create their neighborhood watches or their regional security outfits, the federal government should stay on top of it. And then, of course, balkanize the police. Balkanize it. Make it legal so that people are not trying to either see it as, a competitive outfit with the police. After all, the goal is the same. Fight crime and make sure that the bad guys are not having an upper hand.
Mr. Dennis Amakri, a former secret police officer, deputy director at the DSS, former, and a security expert. Thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Shina Fagboro Byron, a former presidential candidate, an advisor to the Dawn Commission, and of course, a development expert. Thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.